All right, guys. Next class on Tuesday, you have your half test and the video project over drugs and their effects on the cells and body will also be due. And your reading notes over chapters 11 and 12. So what I wanted to do at the beginning of this class pretty quickly is talk to you about what's on the half test. I'm actually going to flip through the test that I have here in front of me and just kind of go through question by question and tell you what to expect on each test. On each question and as you go through the test. And then at that point, I will give you time to work on your reading notes, the video that's also due on Tuesday, and again, there's a 9-question AP Classroom assignment that you can do for a small amount of points. So the half test on Tuesday is only chapter 12, and it's only 25 multiple choice questions. There will not be a written component to this test. The 25 questions are 2 points each for 50 points. Your video project due on Tuesday is a total of 50 points. So the project and the half test together would be like one of your 3 major tests that you've taken so far. So on the test, it will start with 2 questions that are both kind of just vocabulary oriented. I would certainly go through and be familiar with the boldface terms. And in one question, I pretty much just kind of give you a definition and ask you for what I'm describing. And in another, I reference a structure and you basically tell me which structure am I referencing. From there, I will give you an event and you will tell me why that event happens, not what phase it's in, but I will talk about an event that occurs during mitosis and you will tell me basically why it happens. Again, multiple choice format. There's a question where I give you a phase and then you tell me which event happens during that phase. Then I move on to a question where essentially I talk about a structure and you tell me what the function of that structure is. Like, what is it doing? How is it doing that? I know that's a little vague, but just to give you an idea, a little roadmap for the test. There are then 3 questions all related to cytokinesis. What is cytokinesis? It's the actual splitting of the cell and the cytoplasm within the cell. That's right. So I ask, there's a number of things I could ask about that, including things like, how is it different in plants versus animals? From there, I have a question on how prokaryotes divide, because mitosis is really in relation to eukaryotic cells that have a nucleus. Prokaryotes go about it in a simpler, slightly different way. There's a lot of similarities, but prokaryotic cell division will have a question. Then there's a question on cancer and a question about a term we talked about called apoptosis. Apoptosis. That was discussed in the reading. We talked about it in class. So I ask about that as well. And I'd be happy to go over, any of these terms. If you're not familiar with them, I can talk to you about them after we talk about all this. So that takes us through the first 11 questions, almost halfway through. There are then 10 questions where I give you a word bank that's basically all the phases, and I give you 10 different events, and you just match the event that I tell you to what phase it happens in. Of mitosis and interphase. So interphase and the G and S phases of interphase will be in that word bank. So basically events of interphase and mitosis, since they are separate stages of the cell cycle. And then that takes us to the last 4 questions, which are 4 pictures of cells in different phases, and you just tell me which phase they're in. It will be the easiest test you take all year. And it will only be a half test, so I guess it kind of should be a little bit easier, but do not waste this opportunity for some, I don't want to say easy points, but if you prepare, I think you can make 100. So do not let this opportunity slip by. At this point, I would recommend, again, I know I've said this a couple of times, but 3 things to do between now and Tuesday, besides obviously studying for the test. You need to make sure your reading notes are done over chapters 11 and 12. I will check your reading notes over those 2 chapters. You've been doing the reading the whole time, I'm sure. Right? Yes, good. So the reading notes should be done by Tuesday. The video project should be done by Tuesday. And a third little thing is I have an AP Classroom 9 pretty quick multiple choice questions that you can do for a little bit of credit. And you have an hour to work towards all of that right now. I'm going to stop the video, but let me know if you have any questions between now and then.